breaking news, Ilhan Omar's husband's wine company has been legally dissolved. You are looking at the state of California certificate of cancellation for Est Crew. That is the wine company owned in part by Tim Wynette, the Minnesota Congresswoman's spouse. Now, why would Wynette and his business partner dissolve their wine business, especially in light of this fact? The Wall Street Journal writing, quote, a 2025 email between Omar's husband and his accountant states that the venture capital management firm is valued at $7.9 million and the winery at $1.5 million. He owns roughly a third of both businesses, according to tax documents included with the lawyer's letter. But why was the winery valued so high in the first place? According to the New York Post, Est Crew had all kinds of problems. By 2023, winemakers said they were not being paid, and investors sued. And Est Crew had only $650 by 2024. Now, overall, the Post says Est Crew only sold a handful of wines between 2020 and 2023. Now, look at this. Among the wines sold by Omar's husband was this beautifully labeled Malbec. You see a devious-looking woman. There's a red devil over her right shoulder. Interestingly, the Malbec is called, quote, the Devil's Lie. What a name. Est Crew also sold a Cabernet Sauvignon called Blockchain, a red blend called Overt, described in reviews as flimsy and tart. But Omar's husband's wine venture appears to have come to an end. And a supposed end to, quote, the Devil's Lie Malbec comes just days after we learned that Ilhan Omar accidentally thought she was a multimillionaire. $5,000, a change that came after her finances came under investigation. But Tom Homan says, stay tuned.
The whole file is being reviewed. A lot of smart people are on it. Stay tuned.
Joining me now is Nick Sorter, who has been on the Hill. Nick, have you caught up with Ilhan Omar?
Oh, she's doing a great job hiding, Kaylee. I mean, I have a lot of questions for her, especially, is this husband her brother husband, or is this a different husband that owned the quote-unquote winery? Haven't figured that one out quite yet. But, you know, there are people that have tried to go out to where this winery was located, and nothing was there. The people at the address didn't even know what we were talking about when we went out there. Because it never existed in that location. And it's awfully coincidental that only days after her accounting error of millions and millions of dollars, that this entity, this wine company, ends up being dissolved. And so there's a lot more questions than answers here. And it's almost like, where did that millions and millions of dollars, where did that go? Did it get loaded into suitcases and head off to Somalia? I guess we got to find out.
Yeah, or an accounting error. She said she wasn't familiar with her husband's business. Who knows? I do know this. You're on the ground. You go to different states. You talk to voters a lot. And this Feeding Our Future scandal in Minnesota, the Minnesota legislature has given Ilhan Omar until May 5th to turn over documents because she put in place legislation that paved the way for some of this. I get the sense that voters really, really care about fraud.
$1 billion was stolen by mostly Somalis there in her district, right? That money was supposed to go to hungry children. She was having campaign events at the place where it was headquartered, where the fraud was headquartered. And now she's trying not to answer any questions on it. You would think that if you didn't have anything to do with it, you would give as much information as you possibly could as the representative from that district. And you can see when people try to talk to her on the Hill now, she's getting increasingly aggressive with them, throwing personal insults. She's scared. And, you know, you heard what Tom Homan said just there a couple of minutes ago at the Turning Point event about, you know, how they're investigating her. And we also heard the news yesterday that the DOJ is increasing denaturalization efforts. So, I mean, she might be in hot water here. I'm just saying that much. And to Todd Blanche, I'll say this to you straight. If you denaturalize and deport Ilhan Omar, you will be a national hero, and I will come on your show next time, Kaylee, wearing Todd Blanche's face emblazoned on my shirt.
Headlines for Sunday, April 26, 2026 are dominated by breaking developments in the Middle East and domestic security incidents. Top national and international headlines. Trump cancels peace talks in Pakistan. President Trump abruptly ordered U.S. envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner to cancel their trip to Islamabad. He told Fox News there was no point in the 18-hour flight because the U.S. holds all the cards and has rejected current Iranian offers. Chicago hospital shooting. A suspect is in custody following a shooting at a Chicago hospital that left one police officer dead and another critically injured on Saturday. Conflict update. Iran has resumed commercial flights from Tehran for the first time in 2 months, even as ceasefire talks remain stalled and tensions with Israel continue to escalate in southern Lebanon. DOJ drops Jerome Powell probe. The Department of Justice has officially dropped its criminal investigation